I did believe that the election was stolen. I believe that the riots were actually, those were patriots. Until I actually switched off Fox News and started getting my news from other places, my information, that's when it finally hit.
Diversifying their news turned out to be a common factor in leaving MAGA.
I met my now husband in 2021, and they made me watch a documentary on January 6th, and I didn't even know what happened on January 6th prior to the PBS documentary. And I looked at him and I said, Scott, did that really happen? And he was like, where have you been?
It's not easy to believe something firmly and then come to the conclusion that you've been wrong for many years. Was that hard for you?
Yes, yeah. That was something that I just couldn't square because I couldn't be wrong because I consider myself intelligent.
You know, I had believed that when Trump ran that he would be somebody who would be different as an outsider. I think that he was correct in pointing out a lot of the flaws of our political system. It just turned out, unfortunately, that he didn't try to solve those or remedy those ills, that he exacerbated them.
Hearing you guys talk about MAGA and about supporting Trump, it sounds like you're talking often about like a cult that's damaging.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But he's the president of the United States, and it's not a cult. It's like the dominant political ideology of the United States in this moment.
What MAGA does provide is a place where people feel seen and heard and validated. We used to say, we're not in the cult, the outside world is the cult, and we're not the crazies, the outside world are the crazies.
The group says that leaving MAGA often means losing relationships with loved ones, but it also teaches them to approach those loved ones with empathy.
When I left MAGA, like I said, I kicked the door open and jumped through. I had a heart full of hate, so I would just go on the offensive and attack anybody and everybody that still supported it. And I've learned over time that that's not going to change anybody. In fact, it's going to push people over. So I've learned to be that empathy, that voice of concern, that caring voice. You can do this, I did it.
Do you have a problem with the fact that Trump is a 34-count felon, liable sexual abuser? Does that bother you at all?
No.
So abusing children don't.
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
So it does bother you.
It does bother,
okay.
a little bit, but
just a little bit. So child rapists bother you a little bit.
No. I mean, allegedly, just saying like OJ allegedly killed his
But
wife.
OJ was never the president of the United States, and you wouldn't have voted for OJ Simpson, right?
I mean, yeah, but if we're talking about the judiciary system and talking about laws,
system, yeah.
I mean, I would say if we're all talking about allegedly saying this.
Well, he is a liable sexual abuser. That was proven in a courtroom. You are aware of that,
I mean,
right?
I've read the court files, but honestly, I think
You don't believe E. Jean Carroll?
I never said that. I'm
just
talking
asking
about,
you.
Yeah. I'm just saying that because of the controversy of media and stuff, I did my own research, so I have my own beliefs.
Who was the guy that said we're not gonna start a new war? I'm gonna be a peace president. Who was the guy who said that?
I don't remember.
It was Donald Trump.
It was Trump.
Are we in a war right now?
I don't think so.
So you don't think the war in Iran is a war?
No, I don't think so.
So dropping bombs on countries and a regime change and killing the Ayatollah and spending $2 billion a day. If it's not a war, which, by the way, the Trump administration admitted that it is, but if it's not a war, then what would you call it?
I would say it's an intervention, but it wouldn't be a war because there was no declaration of it.
Right.
But the fact of having some, bombing and stuff, we have been through that, the past 20 years. So
who won the 2020 election? Free and fair.
I was Trump, right? Trump won it? I don't remember.
You don't know who won the 2020 election?
No, sorry.
Oh. Hillary Clinton won the 2020 election.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. What did you think about Hillary's presidency? Do you think it was a good presidency?
I mean, I never studied about her too much. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't
As
know.
the first female president of the United States of all time, what would you give Hillary on a scale 1 to 10 as president? Do you think she did a good job?
I mean, honestly, I just said to you, I never study, but honestly, depends. If I study her...
Was Trump a better president than Hillary Clinton?
Yes.
2 more people that thought Hillary Clinton was the president. Okay, that's fair enough. All right.
When the Jew resides in America, it will never be holy until all of you are gone.
Okay. I'm gonna let you. I'm so glad that you feel very secure in what you believe. You're willing to say that in public. Now I'm gonna make one challenge to you, just one.
I don't think challenges are refused. You're gonna tell me to sacrifice a child. Or
no, I'm gonna. All I'm asking you to do is take
just
that
a chicken
off of your face and say it again.
Yeah, you're gonna make me transmit the sins into a chicken. Well, you guys did it to children, but you know, like, you guys had to change it.
You don't support President Trump, you don't support your country. Oh, fuck Donald Trump. He's a felon. He's an adjudicated rapist. His name is listed in the E-files more than any other person, second only to E himself. The most patriotic thing any real patriot can do is not support Donald Trump. Forever, he has conflated our flag, our nation, as being one and the same as celebrating him and his own self-induced ideas of grandeur. MAGA is a foreign-funded psyop meant to divide the people.
He lies. That's what he does. Just the other day, he said, we're in a manufacturing boom.
We have factories and plants being built all over our country at a number that we've never had before, ever in our history, and we're doing really well.
Manufacturing is down in the country, thanks to him. We were in a boom when Biden was in office, thanks to the Infrastructure Act and the Chips and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act, actual policy that we were building. We were manufacturing, building factories again in the United States. And as soon as these monsters got into office, they started rolling all of this back, clawing back the money from these projects, stopping all of our green energy projects that would have put us on the right side of the future, set us up for success. And especially if Trader Trump said, oh, we're going to have to go to war with Iran, instead of setting us up for success and making us less dependent on oil, they have made us more dependent on oil, pulling the plug on all these green energy projects.
Mitch McConnell is like 84 years old and was found unresponsive after what we're being told was a cardiac arrest, a heart attack. The chances of him surviving that are extremely low. And when asked directly as he did, nobody will give a direct answer. And although Laura Loomer is a horrible source, I don't trust her. Most of us already believed he was dead. So whether he's already dead, probably is, or maybe possibly just squeezing out a few extra days, he's dying and or about to die. They are dragging it out because they're trying to make sure that they can somehow control the election, because nothing changes in the fact that the midterms is their ultimate goal. The midterms are their ultimate goal because the Republicans are going to lose in dramatic fashion unless they can somehow intervene so heavily so as to skew and rig and sabotage the results of that election. Speaking of elections, Graham Platner dropped out as the fuck he should have. I mean, this isn't even a controversy. A credible, very reliable allegation of SA came forward. You drop out. Like, why are people even arguing about this online? And Donald Trump cost the USA the World Cup because he got involved and had the red card overturned for the star player, who, by the way, is in America by way of birthright citizenship. And as we know from Knicks Game 3, every time Donald Trump gets involved, the team loses. So why did anybody cheer on or allow him to get involved in the U.S. men's national team's game? Because that almost all but guaranteed we lose, because everything Trump touches, he fucks up. Everything Trump gets involved with, he loses, just like democracy here in America.
Right now, the Department of Justice quietly changed a rule to give Todd Blanche, the Attorney General of the United States, complete discretion over which prisons a federal inmate can serve time in. Essentially, if you oppose the Trump administration, you could now be sent to maximum security prison simply because Blanche wants you to. This has been uncovered by Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney. And according to Liz, this new rule change would allow Todd Blanche to have discretion to send individuals facing federal prison sentences to any prison that he may want. So if you are protesting ICE, she says, you can be sent to a maximum security prison alongside murderers, simply because that's what the Attorney General may want. But if you align with the Trump administration and you have a ton of money to spend, you could buy your way to a halfway house or a lower security prison. That, according to Liz Oyer. Pretty significant stuff. This new rule change went into effect quietly.
You ever read the Constitution? Seriously, I encourage you to read it. I'm not yelling at you, I'm asking you to read it. You know, you're probably on the right, like a Republican. Republicans always said this is what they feared would happen to our country if we allowed the government to get away with too much. We would have masked federal agents in our streets.
ICE is now actively investigating its online critics. You could be under investigation by ICE. According to Wired, ICE's Office of Professional Responsibility is now undertaking investigating critics of the agency online.
Every single one! Pull back. Don't touch it! Hey, no, I'm not. I'm not too close. We're not in your way. We're not in your way. We're not in your way, and you know it.
It's our legal right to. You
have an illegal plate on your vehicle. All three of your vehicles have illegal covers. All three of your vehicles have illegal covers. Every single one. Pull back. Don't touch him. All three of your vehicles have illegal covers. All three of your vehicles have illegal covers.
Or attempted to.
Don't touch him! Pull back! Don't touch him! Pull back! Back! Don't touch him! Shut the fuck up! Is anybody he is not in your way! Back up! He is... Back up! Threaten us! Oh, threaten us with it again! We are not in your way! We have no weapons! We are not violent! But he let the guy go.
Hey, yeah, he uncuffed the guy.
It was the big black car that let him go, right? Chevy Tahoe. Thank you so much, seriously. They let the guy go.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time, oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. Be a good time, gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You caught me. Good morning, everybody. I was trying to eat my sandwich. You got me. I made a cheese omelet, and I thought I'll make my own breakfast sandwich out of it. But the omelet is so big, Basically, you have to make 2 sandwiches. All I did was I put it on a hamburger bun, cheese omelet with a slice of ham, and I was trying to wolf it down. Today's intro was a little shorter than usual. Usually I would be done eating. So this is the very unprofessional of me. But, whoever said I was professional? Good morning, everybody. It is 9:29 a.m. in the Pacific time zone here. Out here on the Outer Rim, otherwise known as Boulder Highway. We're currently sitting at a temperature of... Is it 99 already? 99 degrees. It's only 9:30 in the morning. It's supposed to be a scorcher today. We're supposed to hit, I think, 110. Supposed to get up to 110 today. So definitely back into the triple digits. Thank you guys for being here. I do see that Paul Burrows was first. But just starting right off, I'll say some hellos and everything real quick. But yeah, I guess today's show we'll be talking a lot about Graham Platner, Mitch McConnell, and good old you-know-who, Donald Trump. Let me take a bite of this sandwich. It's a pretty good sandwich. I toasted the bun in the toaster, so it got, because the bun is like right next to the burners. Anyhow, Mr. Spock says, Mitch is going to star in the blockbuster comedy this summer, Weekend at Boners. The running gag is the boner is a dead fuck. But this is actually a huge story. I mean, just think about it. Mitch McConnell has been in the hospital since, I believe, June 14th, is what I read. Is that right? June 14th? That's almost a month. People are now saying that he's been unconscious the whole time. We heard that in the intro. That he's been unconscious the entire time. In a coma, whatever. And no one has said anything. In fact, I think that there was some report that, he's doing fine. Like someone claimed to visit him and said, he's doing fine. Well, the man's in a coma. It's not looking too good for him. This is a cover-up. This is a huge, huge cover-up. I mean, can you imagine? I need the liberal Dan. I need a liberal Dan soundbite for his song. Had Biden done it, but I mean, Joe Biden. They were complaining that he didn't diagnose or didn't come clean about his diagnosis and stuff early enough or whatever. Mitch McConnell's in a fucking coma. And not that I really give a shit about Mitch McConnell, because I don't. I've got my song all queued up and ready to go for when he finally does actually kick the bucket. But this is obviously, maybe they're paying homage to Mitch McConnell because he was the king of delay tactics, of delaying things when it benefited the Republicans, and then hurrying up things when it would benefit the Republicans. But they don't want to replace him right now. They want to drag this out as long as possible. The man is basically dead. He's probably brain dead. They don't want to, they could expel him. The Senate could do that. They don't want to do that. But by God, if that was a Democrat sitting there in a coma for almost a month, and they had the majority, that Democrat would have been out, would have been expelled and replaced 3 weeks ago. I see Jolie was here, or is here. Thanks for being here. Brooklyn SJU, aka Trixie LaRue, is here. Hey, Brooklyn, good to see you. MJ Daniel from up there in Washington State is here. MJ says McConnell has rolled over on his back and can't get up. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to have lots of turtle jokes and lots of Weekend at Bernie jokes today, probably. Paul Burrows had to go. Peace out. MJ Daniel says Belgium was just better than the U.S. All DJT managed to do was embarrass the USA again. Oh, so you don't think he jinxed them? Hey, they were on a roll, man. I didn't even know America was still in it until I heard all this controversy about Trump interfering. That's how closely I follow FIFA or World Cup. Quite frankly, I really don't even give a shit about it. But you know, I'll root for Team USA. Alton Gillespie's here. Hey, Alton, good to see you. From Paradise, Texas. I Peopled yesterday's here. Hello, I Peopled yesterday. Now, Jolie says, agreed, General. The president of the host country interfering. I'm glad the U.S. didn't win. I wouldn't want them to win that way anyway. Would have just been more embarrassment than a win. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right, Jolie. I mean, I say I root for Team USA. I'm still, I guess, I'm still rooting for them. But yeah, if USA had won, it would have forever tainted that victory because everyone would be saying, "Oh, they only won because Trump got them to overturn that suspension or whatever it was of that player." Trump is such a nitwit. He's such a nitwit. Anna Moore's here. Good to see Anna. We have survived. Yes, we have survived July 4th, at least. Nick Rich is here. Hey, Nick, good to see you. What? What is this? Michael 2? $50 super chat. Yippee, Michael 2. Thank you so much. Says from Fancy and me, hope everyone is doing okay. Wow. Michael 2. I guess the 2 is the 2 of you. Haven't seen you in a while. That's a hell of a hello. Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate you. Hope you guys are doing okay. Alvin Stoops here, Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. PDG 200 LBFB says MAGAs are such morons. As I was watching that clip with the guy who was being interviewed, I was thinking, this can't be real, right? With the guy thinking that Hillary had won in 2020, and that couldn't possibly be real, right? But I'm afraid it is. PDG 200 LBF says, I guess those MAGA hats will need to be burned soon. MJ Daniel says, do you really think Vladimir Putin, head of the KGB, ever stopped the Cold War? Just because Ronnie Reagan gave that speech in Berlin? DJT is a total psyops. I think DJT is an unknowing stooge. Yeah, MJ Daniel says turtle soup. They're just hiding it for as long as possible. Well, I think everyone knows now what's going on. Petrazi's here. Hello, Petrazi. Good to see you. Danny Pomeroy. Hello. Good morning to you. Christine 16. Hello. Good morning. Christine says, try using tortillas for your omelets. Yeah. I had hamburger buns, so that's what I used. Danny Pomeroy said I had venison sausage with my eggs this morning. That sounds good. I believe I've only had venison, I think once, maybe twice. Aaron West is here. Hello, Aaron. Thanks for being here. We do have Aaron, and I believe Jolie are both here. I can confirm that because I see that in the chat. Aaron and Jolie are here. And so you know what that means, right? Whenever we have Jolie and Aaron here in the chat, same time, you know what that means, right? It means that we are at a little interjection there. Full mod capacity. Full mod capacity. We're at full malt capacity, ladies and gentlemen. Last bite. Now I got a chew. This is what I'm usually doing when the intro plays. Danny Pomeroy says they're texting Ron Paul and what's going on with Moscow. Mitch and his wife is inside China today. She was on Trump's first cabinet and was the wealthiest person on Trump's cabinet. Yeah, she comes from a Chinese shipping magnate from China. She's Chinese. Elaine Chao. She was transportation secretary under Trump first time. Enamore says, yes, it is TJ regarding McConnell. They should have held special elections in Kentucky by now. Meanwhile, stuff is not getting done. And do they feel that insecure that a Democrat might, if they had a special election, a Democrat might have a chance of taking that seat? I haven't really seen polling. Is that the polling? So they want to keep comatose Mitch in there as long as possible? Are they actually afraid they'll lose the seat to a Democrat? Speaking of losing seats, Graham Platner. Does anyone have the latest update on that? I suspect he should be dropping out, about right now. If he hasn't dropped out by now, whatever tiny little respect I might still have for the man, it would be totally gone. He should be out. He should be gone. And look, I was one of the ones, I supported Graham Platner, and you guys heard me on this very live stream. I was there, even though there were some earlier allegations, to me, it didn't seem like, okay, it was like, yeah, that's not good, but at least he didn't rape anybody. And then now he come out, well, yeah, he did rape somebody. And that's what it was. This description by this gal, I can't remember her name, that was total rape. And he's denying it, but he needs to step down. Graham Platner needs to do that, and he has until Monday to do this, so that the Democrats can still put a replacement, and then they'll have until, I believe, somewhere around the end of the month to figure that out and get that done. But we heard that with Texas Paul explain that. So that's why I'm saying, if he's going to be a prick and wait all the way till Monday, the latest time he can on Monday, then double fuck him. He should be in front of a podium right now as I'm speaking. He should be in front of a podium right now announcing that he is withdrawing from the race, or he's withdrawing his nomination or whatever, And again, my thoughts were very similar, like when this all started breaking yesterday, I guess. And my thoughts kind of went back to when Biden decided to drop out, of course, for completely different reasons. His were for health reasons, basically. And how it was so late in the game, and I was like, oh shit, we're fucked, And then I very quickly started going, okay, look, we need to get on board. We need to just support Kamala Harris. I went right on to Kamala Harris's website that day, the day that Biden announced that he was stepping down, and I donated like $27 to her campaign. And so that's what we need to do here with Maine, because I think Maine is ready for a change. I think Maine is ready to get rid of Susan Collins. And they found a candidate that was speaking to them on so many of the issues. It just so happens that he's a messed up dude. You know, I don't know. He's a fucked up dude. Not trying to excuse anything that he did in any of the sexual assaults, but the guy probably has PTSD. Apparently, has a really bad drinking problem, blackout drunk, all that stuff. I was willing to overlook all that to get rid of Susan Collins, but for many people, this is a line that is too far, and he needs to step down. And he needs to do it today. And the Maine Democrats need to either put in the one that was running what was it? She was a former governor. What was her name? Jill, whatever. I'm just bad with names. But whoever they put in there, hopefully is someone good, and they need to get on it right now if they want to have any chance of unseating Susan Collins. And it's a shame because, like I said, I think Maine is ready to make that change. And, you know, our chances as Democrats, I don't live there, but our chances as Democrats and wanting to get that seat, of course, have greatly diminished. But it's not impossible. It's kind of like Texas Paul is saying, like, you got to get out and vote. And those of us that don't live there, of course, we need to vote in our areas, but we could send $5 or $10 to whoever it is they choose to their campaign. You know, but I'm not willing to give up just yet. We still have other races going on that are just as important. They're all important, but James Tallarico in Texas is a big one. John Ossoff needs to keep his seat in Georgia. There's some other races around the country that are important. We just need to keep at it, not give up. And if you can contribute $3 or $4, $5, doesn't have to be $1,000 or anything like that. Every little bit helps. $3, $5, $10 to these Democratic candidates. It all helps, and it shows the Democratic leadership, you know, in the party, that there is support and that people care for these candidates. So yeah, I think Platner needs to step down like yesterday. Let's see. Who else we got in here? Yep, Full Mount Cassidy. Anamore says, I think that this administration is by far the most openly corrupt one in the 21st century. It is amazing how this corruption, like you say, it is open. It's right there for everyone to see. But due to right-wing propaganda and I don't know, they get away with this shit. All this brainwashing. There's Fancy. I see Fancy in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for coming on in. Alvin Stoops says everything Trump touches turns to shit. And the good old presidency and the good old United States of America is no exception. He's turned us to shit. You know? MJ Daniel says people need to be reminded that there was a chance to give President Obama a Democratic majority and instead gave McConnell the chance to block all his court appointees. Yeah, that's what I'm so sick and tired of, this pendulum swinging back and forth. We elect, I think Obama, I know people, want to go back and shit on Obama. Even our own lefties, our own liberals and Democrats will shit on Obama. They'll shit on Biden, but they were pretty damn good presidents, both Obama and Biden, the two best within my lifetime. I mean, Kennedy, JFK. I was born in 1960, but I mean Kennedy, JFK is certainly a great. I think a great president in his shortened term. Yeah, I think Carter was good. I like Carter, Jimmy Carter, good. I guess I like all the Democrats, of course. Bill Clinton, of course, flawed individual. Couldn't keep his dick in his pants, and to save his life. But we did turn things around from the Obama Bush. I mean from the Reagan Bush 1 years, and we had an economic boom then under Clinton, thanks to, I guess, Silicon Valley and all that shit. But and Democratic policies of actually governing and coming in with paying down debt and deficits. And then, of course, Obama, I think, was a great president. I don't give a fuck what any of you motherfuckers say. I think Obama was a great president. Yeah, sure, we can look back and see the mistakes and the woulda, shoulda, couldas. You can woulda, shoulda, coulda your every single one of us can look back at our own lives and woulda, shoulda, couldas the fuck out of our own histories. Hindsight's 2020. And yeah, Obama's not perfect. Biden wasn't perfect, but they were, like I said, the two best presidents within my lifetime that I can remember. And sure as fuck would prefer having them in the White House right now than the pile of fucking shit we have in there now. Right? I mean, it's not even close. I mean, any Democrat would be better than any of these motherfuckers. These Republicans are shit. They're just shit. They don't do anything for the country. All they do is enrich themselves, enrich their big donors, enrich the top 1% tile. That's all they do. I'm just now getting into the chat from Michael, the $50 super chat. So you get another yippee since I just came to it from Michael and Fancy. There you go. There's a thumbs up. There's a heart. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. David Weiss from Denver's here says, hello there. Hello. What are you trying to say? Hello there from Denver, Colorado. Hello, David Weiss. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I do appreciate you. WW is here. WW. Good to see WW in the chat. MJ Daniel says, all I did was highlight the corruption of DJT and FIFA. Okay. I don't know. Getting all defensive about. Alvin Sue says, you guys see the Manhattan building ready to collapse? No, I did not see that. That's breaking news. I have not seen a Manhattan building ready to collapse. That sounds pretty scary. And Miss Fancy says, I saw that, Alvin. It's scary. I think people are trapped. Damn. I have not seen that. I haven't seen that. Yeah. I hope they can get them out before the thing collapses. MJ Daniel, I spent the 90s listening to insane crap like that on the Art Bell show, and yes, they are that stupid. All right. Is that guy is he the exception? Or is he the guy who thought that Hillary Clinton was president in 2020? Is he the sort of the exception? Is he the norm? I mean, come on. I mean, even the woman in the first clip that said she didn't even know anything about January 6th until, I guess, her fiance or somebody had her watch a documentary, and she's like, "Did this really happen?" And he's like, "Where the hell have you been?" or whatever. I was a truck driver out on the road. Now I wasn't I didn't see it happening. I was listening to it through the radio, through live streaming shows, and then when I took a break or stopped to get fuel, or I took a break, and then I watched. I was seeing the stuff unfold, and I was like, "Oh my God, what the hell is going on in Washington?" And I mean, and then when I stopped for the night, I stopped and watched all the video of the day, of what happened on that day. So even me as a truck driver, and being sort of limited in what you can do and how much TV you can watch as you're driving, because you're driving, you're trying to drive, you're out there earning a living, you're hauling the goods and services to the American people like a good patriot. And even I knew about January 6th. Now, I don't know about this building in Manhattan, but you can't know everything. Stephen Sayers, test. Hello, Stephen Sayers. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I am still on, right? You guys still hear me? Test. Yeah. Okay. You just scared me there for a second. Of course, if my mic did go out, everyone would be going audio, or no sound, or something like that. Let's see. I'm at the portion here where everyone is saying hello to Fancy and Michael. So I'm skipping down a little bit here. Stephen Sayers, hey, big news in wherever Stephen Sayers is at, says a new Sonic just opened. Oh my God, what is going on? What is going on? I'm just seeing a whole bunch of $50 donos from Michael and Fancy. Oh my God, what's going on? Yippee, 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 yippee. Thank you so much. You guys, I'll read your chats as soon as I scroll down to them. Thank you so much. That's crazy. Because I could see on my phone, it pops up. Michael 2 says venison can be some tough meat. Got to cook it right. WW, it means that I turned down the audio. Well, I did give you a heads up. That's why I give you plenty of heads up about the full mod capacity. Steven Sayers says YouTube blocked me from chatting live because I said drunk. I'm almost afraid to say it. I don't want to get blocked because you said drunken grape. I guess I don't know. Christine says Trucker John, put the tortilla down on a hot skillet with cheese. Are you talking about? Oh, okay. Then put your omelet on it, more cheese, and fold. Okay, whatever. That's fine. That's if I ever have any tortilla, I don't really buy tortillas, but if I ever do, well, I'll do that. Maybe now, next time I go shopping, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll pick up a package of these tortillas. Michael 2, I like your backdrop. Thank you, Michael. I've come up with a few. That is an AI rendering of Boulder Highway, which is where I am actually broadcasting from. Aaron says, I'm going to Manhattan in November to see my sibling perform on Broadway with Tom Hiddleston. Wow. That's pretty cool. That's very cool. DPD's here. Hey, DPD, good to see you. DPD says, hello, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late. My 2 fur babies decided to place 2 gifts into the pool. Yuck. And if I know DPD was out there steam cleaning and acid washing and super shocking the pool. And I take it those weren't just baby Ruths that someone threw in the pool. So everyone's impressed about Aaron's was a sibling or relative in the play, the production. Bunch Ado About Nothing. Oh, that's a famous play. Is that Shakespeare? Is that Shakespeare? To be or not to be? That is the question. Oh yes. Let's see. Who else we got in here? Jeff Curry's here. Hey, Jeff Curry. Just south of Uranus. Or no, is that the right person who does that all the time? That joke? I people yesterday. He has demands to be met before he'll drop out. Laughing out loud, or so he says. I heard someone say that too. So what the fuck are his demands? Like, don't put me in jail. We're talking about Graham Platner, I guess, right? Well, you know, Graham Platner, how about you just be lucky that if you don't end up in prison and you just sort of slither off to your what is it? He fishes fucking oysters or whatever the fuck. Go back to your oyster farming or whatever the fuck, and hopefully we'll never see you again. Okay, that's how I feel about it. WW says, I think that we can all agree that any sort of grape, I guess I have to say grape because I'm afraid I'm going to get blocked or something, is a bad thing, right? Yeah, it is a bad thing. It's a bad thing. That's why I'm withdrawing my endorsement of Graham Platner as of yesterday. Brooklyn says, are there any politicians that don't abuse women? I know, right? I know. I was thinking the same thing. Of course, it's rhetorical, and of course there are. I mean, we haven't, knock on wood, we've never heard of any accusations or anything about Obama. Now, they've tried to do that with Biden because, like, what, he would touch people's hair and smell their hair or some shit and take some still shot out of a video and make it look like he was a weird hair sniffer. But hey, I'll take a weird hair sniffer over a grapist any time of the day. WW, remember Al Franken? Of course. I know I guess that's a rhetorical question, but of course we remember Al Franken. What the fuck does Al Franken have to do with any of this? To even try to compare Al Franken to Graham Platner is ridiculous and absurd. Al Franken did absolutely nothing wrong, in my opinion. Don't you at least have to, like, touch the other person? I don't know. Miss Fancy says, I liked Al Franken. He's a funny guy. Yeah, he's very funny. And I think he was a very good senator. Here's WW coming in with this trolling. It says, fuck Democrats. They are always screwing up a sure thing. Since I was a kid, remember 1968. I remember 1968. Oh, you mean when some asshole murdered Bobby Kennedy? And then they didn't want to elect Hubert Humphrey for some reason. I don't know. I don't know if that's, I'm not sure if that was the Democrats' fault. Electing Nixon. Is that what we're talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? 1968, yeah. They elected Nixon. Because Nixon had, I do believe that look, there's a common thread here between the JFK assassination and the RFK assassination, and that common thread is fucking Richard Nixon. I still believe Nixon has something to do with both of those assassinations. Call me crazy. I have no facts to back that up. And of course, Nixon was going behind everyone's backs there and had his people negotiating with the Viet Cong or whatever they're called, the North Vietnamese, to not negotiate peace deals with LBJ. Very, very Iran Contra. I wonder where the Reagan folks got that idea of what they did with Iran Contra. Very similar to what Nixon did with Vietnam. Mr. Spock says Al Franken should run in 20. No, he's old. Look, no, Al Franken is done. Al Franken is very happy, very content. He's in Minnesota with his family, with his grandchildren. He posts all the time, all the shit he's spending time. He's living his best life. Let the man be. Okay, look. Sure, it was fucked up what they did. What Gillibrand did to Al Franken was fucked up. And it should have never happened. Okay? But that window of time, we're past that. And Al Franken is now living his best fucking life. Let the man be. Let him enjoy his life in Minnesota with his grandchildren, for fuck's sake. And I don't mean to, I'm not beating up on you, Mr. Spock, but I'm sort of, I guess maybe I am, but because this, as you can tell, you've hit a nerve. Once again, you've hit a nerve because I've seen this over and over and over and over again in posts, in chat rooms about Al Franken should run again. Al Franken should run again. Fuck that. He's fucking happy. Let him be. Let him live out the rest of his life in Minnesota with his grandchildren. Please, for the love of God, stop trying to drag Al Franken back out. Just as he was getting out, they dragged him back in. Stop it. Stop it. It was wrong what they did to him, but we're well past that. So stop it. Just stop with the Al Franken. You know, everyone should be happy for him where he is now. He seems very happy and content. Just stop. Okay? Instead of trying to bring back Al Franken, let's how about we get a fucking Democrat elected in Maine, for God's sakes? How about maybe we get a Democrat to take Mitch McConnell's seat, for fucking Christ's sake? Let's work on that shit. We don't need to worry about Minnesota. They're going to have Democrats in Minnesota. We don't need to worry about fucking Minnesota and Al Franken. Let him live his fucking life. For fuck's sake. Mr. Spock always hitting a nerve, man. I love you, Mr. Spock, the Fowler. Up there in Canada, eh? With his chickens. He's a Fowler. Steven Sayers says, John, do you remember how happy the country was when JFK was elected? No, because I was 0 years old. I was 0 years old. But I will say that I felt like JFK was still alive throughout the whole 60s because his presence was still there. The assassination and his being elected president, what he was doing, trying to, he was starting. LBJ finished what he was starting with civil rights and equal rights, and then and all that. That was all. I think what JFK was going for. The thing is, though, apparently, and this is what probably got JFK killed, is JFK was not. I don't think was on board with Vietnam, and apparently LBJ had no qualms about it. Maybe when you saw, your president, you're the vice president, you saw your president get his head blown off. Maybe that will make you go, okay, I guess I'm not going to get in the way of the military-industrial complex. But I was 0 years old. Actually, okay, I was actually when JFK won the election. I guess I was about a month old. Probably about a month old. I was probably about 1 month old. But like I said, JFK, the memory and the assassination was very fresh in everyone's minds all through the 60s. So when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I felt like I remembered the JFK assassination because I was like 3 when he was assassinated. Even though I have no actual memory of that day, but I do remember my mom telling me, or her talking about how she found out and how she just cried. She just cried all day about it. My dad was really sad, but he's a man. He's not going to cry. No, he was sad, and how that the ghost of JFK sort of hovered over the 60s. All through the 60s. So I felt like I kind of always felt like I remember the day. November 22nd, 1963. And the reason that I remember that was the day that JFK was assassinated is because that was also my parents' wedding anniversary. And so, it would always come up. It was their anniversary, and then every year, they would run Zapruder films, not my parents, but like news outlets, the CBS, NBC, whatever. They would run the Zapruder film on TV in the 60s of him getting his head blown off. They would and I say blown off, but the back of his skull blown out or whatever. They would show that shit on the fucking TV all the time. I don't think they do that anymore on regular TV, So I felt like I was there. I mean, I was alive, but I feel like I was there, was cognizant of that day, even though it was just me watching the Zapruder film every year. Every year on the anniversary of JFK, they would show the Zapruder film on TV. Apparently, Woke Mike is here today. There's Woke Mike. Hello, thanks for being here. Danny Pomeroy says JFK built millions of middle-class jobs and going to the moon. Yeah, that was one of his, his not just goal, but that was like his challenge to America, and it was to be the first on the moon. Of course, it happened after he was long gone, after he was long gone and dead, but his dream was fulfilled there. Just a few short years later, really. Michael says, "I want Trumpy in prison." That's where he deserves to be. I don't think he's ever going to see the inside of a prison cell, though. He's either going to die before that happens, or by the time we get an actual justice system to do anything about it, he'll be like Mitch McConnell stage of health. Jeff Curry, that'd be a great T-shirt. Republicans are shit. Get that right here on the Chuck John merch. I should make a T-shirt like that. Let's see. Elizabeth Fernandez is here. Says, to me, Obama was the greatest president. I agree. I think Obama was awesome. And like I say, we look back, we can do the woulda, shoulda, couldas, but in real time, he was doing everything he could to outmaneuver the majority party when the Republicans got the majority. And he had to always this overuse of the Republicans overusing the filibuster and abusing the filibuster. You know, he had a lot that he had to get around, and he still got a lot done, I think. Stephen says JFK and MLK were friends. Oh, that's fine. That's good. Nick Rich, 10 a.m. in Vegas. I'm only 19 minutes behind. Even with my rants, even with Mr. Spock hitting a nerve, I'm only 19 minutes behind. WW says FDR was probably the greatest modern standard, Lincoln by historical standards. Yeah, let's not forget FDR, or Lincoln for that matter. But yeah, FDR did some great things to get us out from the Great Depression. Great social safety nets, right? The social programs that made it so that people could have some dignity as they get old, you know. So yeah, FDR definitely up there. And remember, I know a lot of us, I think there's even lefties now that were shit all over Joe Biden, but I can remember Joe Biden being compared to FDR, saying, "Wow, he's like the new FDR here." But now we want to look back and we want to revise that and go, no, Biden sucked. And that's just not right. That's just not right to do that to Biden. Danny Pomeroy says, now today, America is subleasing SpaceX thanks to Americans involved in stocks. You will save Elon hundreds of billions of dollars trafficking SpaceX. You're holding Elon's debt in lost in space. Well, just another reason to vote for Democrats so we can cancel those contracts. Mad Max is here. Hey, Mad Max, Slava Ukraini. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. I do appreciate you coming on in today. William said, did anyone catch Larry David's new show on Friday? They put it to Trump without even mentioning his name. I saw a clip. Someone had posted about almost a 10-minute clip. And it was like they were back in George Washington times, right? And Larry David was playing like a colonial person, and he was going, what if you have a narcissist, a malignant narcissist who will refuse to get out of office or whatever? And it was very funny. And it's funny, the guy playing George Washington, I had no idea who it was. I kept going, who is that? Who is that? And it turns out it was the late great Rob Reiner, apparently. So when I heard that, I got really sad to think about Rob Reiner and his wife horribly murdered by their fucking psycho drug addict son. Aaron is back, so I guess are we back to full mod? Are we back to full mod capacity? Were we not at full mod capacity for a bit there? DPD says, "Stop it, TJ. You know me too well, damn it." So I was right, wasn't I? I was right about the pool cleaning situation. Yeah, I nailed it. I knew it. Aaron West, Much Ado About Nothing is Shakespeare. I thought so. I don't know. I don't know any of the lines to it, so I went to what did I go to Hamlet or something? To be or not to be, is that that's the soliloquy from Hamlet, right? What's a famous line from Much Ado About Nothing? I'm sure there must be. Every play, every Shakespeare play has famous lines, right? Is it, frankly, Scarlet, I don't give a damn? No, that's not it. All right, I'm skipping down a little bit in the chat. Miss Fancy, welcome to Driver. Yippee, Miss Fancy. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I do appreciate you for doing that. We do have memberships, folks, starting as low as $1.99 a month. We've got middle tier levels. I think it's $4.99 a month. And the memberships really are the lifeblood of the show. So if you're thinking about becoming a member, it's very, very reasonably priced at $1.99 a month. You can also like, subscribe, share, hype the show. Try to get us to 5K for good old 5K Hennessy Day. We're at what, 40? We're at 4,530. So we are steadily growing, little by little, a few here, a few there. Before you know it, maybe by New Year's we'll be at 4,500. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe by New Year's Eve 2028. I don't know. Maybe by mid 2027 we'll be at 4,500 at this rate. I don't know. But thank you so much. I do appreciate you, every single one of you. Every single one of yous. DBD says, you know what's even more fucked? You can still use your First Amendment rights over on Twitter, but YouTube wants to clutch their pearls. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. But speaking of the First Amendment, I think this is a good time to do our constitutional moment. Now, I've been reading from the Constitution. On 4th of July, I read the First Amendment. But previous to that, I read Articles 1 and 2 of the Constitution. Let's go to Article 3. I'm going to read Article 3 today of the U.S. Constitution. It's kind of long. It says, the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by the legislature thereof. And I believe that was changed, right? I mean, that's the change. The 17th Amendment, where they changed it to voting instead of being appointed, right? For 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election. They shall be divided as equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of the senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year. Because this is like the first the very first sentence. So they had to do this, I think. Shall be vacated at the expiration of the second year of the second class. Wait, of expiration of the. This is like reading Shakespeare, for God's sakes. At the expiration of the fourth year, and of the third class at the expiration of the sixth year, so that 1/3 may be chosen every second year. So when we have the midterms, it's roughly 1/3 of the Senate is up for grabs, basically. Okay, I shouldn't interject. I should just read. Okay, and if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise, this is very pertinent to what's going on with Mitch McConnell. During the recess of the legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointment until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. And then that was changed by the 17th Amendment. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained to the age of 30 years old, or 30 years, and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state for which he shall be chosen. The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally divided. The Senate shall choose their other officers, and also a President pro tempore, in the absence of the Vice President, or what he shall exercise the office of the President of the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to the law. So that's why they're saying that they can't indict a sitting president. That's why that memo came out. I mean, that's where they're getting that from. You can impeach and you can remove, but you can't, the Congress can't enact any like punishment, like jail or something. All they can do is remove you from office. And then once you're out of office, then you can be indicted and charged if there's criminal charges or whatever. That's how that works. Michael 2, member for 27 months. Yippee! Thank you so much, Michael. Michael 2? Michael to you? Michael to you, I guess. Thank you so much for being a long-time member. 27 months. One of the OGs. You're right up there with Wes or WW, whichever he did his under, and Jolie, and even Aaron's been a long time. So thank you, Michael, to you. It's called a joke, TJ. Your jokes suck, dude. Your jokes totally suck. You think you're funny, but they suck. Nick Rich says Vulcan humor. Yeah, Vulcan humor must suck. David Weiss from Denver says, I saw Al Franken doing stand-up comedy in Minneapolis back when I was driving yellow cab checker cars. DBD says, TJ, I believe Baby Doll Hoover was responsible for both Kennedy's King, Malcolm, and Medgar murders. Baby Doll Hoover. I don't even know who that is. Who the hell is Baby Doll Hoover? Danny Pomeroy, the only way Franklin can be involved is in a cabinet member. It's the only way forward for no. Al is done. He's happy. He's content. Please, let's not rehash this. He's done. He's happy. Let him alone. Leave him alone. Mad Max, has anyone seen this new AI called Claude? There is a great video with Senator Bernie Sanders asking it questions about the future of mankind if AI takes over. It was chilling. I haven't seen it. I've heard of Claude. I haven't seen that video, though. Jeff Curry, I have a very limited memory of when I was a month old. I don't believe you. I do not believe. People say that, and I do not believe anyone has a memory of 1 month old. No fucking way. Your mind may have invented a memory for you, but you do not have a memory of 1 month old, please. WW, my parents were Nixon fans until Watergate. Well, that stands to reason. Hi, people. Yesterday, I remember that day I was staying at my grandparents' grandma was watching as the world turns, and it interrupted by him getting shot. Wow. David Weiss from Denver says, I'm trying to get Discord working. PETA indeed. I don't know what that means. Mad Max says, I put JFK's photo on my bedroom wall when I was young. I only saw Jack Ruby shoot Lee Harvey Oswald, the Patsy, but they didn't have the 8mm tourist film at the time. I remember seeing the Zapruder film dozens of times when I was growing up. I had better TV where I was at. Nick Rich, 20 past the hour. I'm only 17 minutes behind you, Nick Rich. I'm 17 minutes behind you. And that was with me reading the Constitution. Agolf Twiller's here. Hey, Agolf, good to see you. Agolf says, Republican agents, provocateurs are already pretending to be angry leftists, blaming the DNC and AIPAC for Platner, telling people to vote third party, same shit, different day. Yeah. I got to believe in my heart of hearts that Graham Platner wasn't the last good Democrat or the only Democrat that could beat Susan Collins. I realize this is coming. We're just a few months from the midterms, but I got to believe there's got to be some good Democrats that can step up. David Weiss from Denver says, I hated Nixon, never voted for a Republican. I was in elementary school when Kennedy was assassinated. They rolled out TVs in the library and sent us home early. I cried walking home. WW Biden's still alive. He sucked by resigning. Well, he had all the donors were leaving. I don't know. I think he felt like he had no choice. All of his donors were leaving. I mean, that's another one of those hindsight things. Yeah, maybe it would have been better if he had stayed in and then resigned and then had Kamala take over. That would have been 100 million times better than what we got now. But Bethany's here. Hello, Bethany. Good to see you. MJ Daniel, U.S. voters suck for not electing Harris. I agree because, I mean, I understand, you know, the so-called supposed, you know, the criticisms about she didn't really run in the primary, so she wasn't really chosen through the primary process for president. She was just on the ticket, and that they should have done some sort of big, I don't know, one-day primary or something. I don't know. I mean, I understand all those things, but still, at the end of the day, you would have thought that the American voters would have seen that the alternative of having Donald Trump get in there was going to be so much worse, no matter what, no matter how upset or angry or how much they disagreed with the way Kamala Harris was made the nominee. At the end of the day, you would think they would go, well, you know what? We can't let Trump get in there again because he's going to fuck everything up again. And that's what he's doing. You know, I mean, if we learn one thing out of electing Trump in 2024, I hope it's that we don't take these presidential choices so lightly, like to think, oh, I don't like the Kamala Harris was just made the nominee, so I'm not going to vote, or I'm going to vote for Trump, or I'm going to vote for third party or whatever. I don't know, whatever the deal was. I'm going to stay home. You know, 10 million people stay at home or whatever. I hope we never take these things so lightly, like it's so nonchalant. We can just say, I'm not going to vote. So what if we have an ass bag like Trump running and he could win it if we don't vote? I hope we've learned a very important lesson here, very valuable lesson here about how much voting does matter, and it shouldn't be taken so lightly, and realizing that when you do have a malignant narcissist, you know, fascist wannabe, authoritarian wannabe president or candidate, that really does affect the country and the entire world. Because I grew up hearing that, oh, the presidency is just a figurehead. Even talking about JFK, there were people down the street that I knew that were parents of one of my schoolmates. And I remember that was probably 5th or 6th grade. And, you know, the topic of Kennedy was still coming up. And I remember my friend's mom goes, because I think I said something like, you know, John Kennedy was the best president ever, you know. And she obviously must have been a Republican or something, because she's like, the president is just a figurehead. I'm like, really? You know, so she's just trying to, you know, I guess diminish the Kennedy legacy, whatever. But the point I was trying to get to is they're not just figureheads. I mean, yeah, we have, you know, Congress is technically more important, really, because Congress is one that they make all the laws. You know, they bring all the bills and they make laws out of these bills, but the president has to sign it, and the president has the bully pulpit. And we do see that how influential a president can be in setting up, his cabinet, and then going out and making his argument to the American people about what he wants done. And Congress responds to that. So, Mrs. Merrick, with all due respect, I believe that the presidency is more than just a figurehead. It is very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the trouble that we're in now. If just being a figurehead if the president was just being a figurehead, then maybe we wouldn't have the trouble we're having now, with being really on the brink of losing our democracy, and really losing our good standing with the rest of the world, and with all of especially our European partners and allies. Mad Mac, to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles. Yada, yada, yada. I don't remember that part. Mad Mac, I don't remember that part. I think you added something there. Mr. Spock, to pee or not to pee? That is the question? I don't think that's a question. If you gotta go, when you gotta go, you gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Do. Lightfoot 2000 is asking a question. It says, "Hey TJ, how's Trump's NATO meeting going? Shit show, lots of babble, and what the fuck?" I haven't seen the NATO meetings, but I'm not surprised if it's a shit show, because everything Trump does turns into a shit show. And thank you, Lightfoot 2000, for being here, by the way. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hype, and share the show. If you haven't already, please, won't you consider hitting that subscribe button? I'd greatly appreciate it. I would appreciate us getting to 5,000 subscribers sometime before 2027. It would be nice. Twould be nice. Twould be nice. James Jaramillo's here. Hey, James, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Oh, thanks for coming on in. Oh, thanks for coming on in to the driver's lounge. Nick Rich 132. I believe I am 14 minutes. 14 little tiny itty bitty little tit. Oh, I almost said titty. Jolie hates that word. I just meant to say little bitty itty minutes. I almost said little bitty titty minutes, which doesn't make any sense. What's a titty minute? I should stop saying titty because Jolie hates that. Anywho, so we've talked about Graham Platner. We've talked a bit about Mitch. We talked a little bit about the soccer. Mad Mac, what do you think? Mad Mac's a soccer guy. What do you think about Trump's involvement in the World Cup? And did he jinx Team USA? I'd be interested to hear from some of the soccer folks on that. Gino Maynard's here. Hey, Gino, good to see you. Says, normally I'm empathetic, but you reap what you sow, Mitch. Yeah. In terms of evil men and why does it take so long for evil men to die, I'm putting Mitch McConnell in that piss on their grave club. Troll Slayer. Hey, 007 Kevin. Troll Slayer here. Herbert, why would you, Josh C's, always good to see Josh C's, and I know you guys are joking, you like to joke, but why would you say Herbert the pervert? Herbert was not a pervert. I know, I was just joking, but Herbert Humphrey was not a pervert, to my knowledge. Stuff like that, I know, joking is joking, but I don't really like those kind of jokes. DBD says TJ Baby Doll Hoover is J. Edgar Hoover. Oh. Duh. You think I would have gotten that? Did he have a baby doll collection? I know he liked to dress up like a baby doll. Apparently. I don't know. There was definitely... We know that MLK Jr. was being surveilled by the FBI. They tried to blackmail him or frame him. Or not. They tried to blackmail him, I guess, with phone recordings that he was talking to his lovers or lover or whatever, to his side piece. And I guess they were, trying to use that against him. They would tell him that he should, quit doing speeches. They didn't like him. Hoover didn't like him. FBI didn't like him. It's very fishy, very fishy. It's all very fishy. JFK, MLK, and RFK. I know Sirhan killed RFK, and they haven't found any links to him with anything, but I don't know. It's just, what they say, there's no such thing as coincidence. And it's just kind of coincidence that JFK beat Nixon in 60. I'm sure Nixon was all on board with going full bore into Vietnam, as we saw later. JFK had come out and said that he and his brother Bobby were going to take down the military-industrial complex. Next thing you know, like I said, JFK's got the back of his head blown out. LBJ is only too happy to start sending massive amounts of troops to Vietnam. And then in 68, LBJ decides not to run for re-election. Bobby Kennedy throws his hat into the ring there. And he's winning primaries. It's pretty much a done deal that he was going to win the nomination. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know it, he gets shot and killed. And who becomes president? Fucking Nixon. So there's a Nixon connection. There's a military-industrial complex connection. There's probably an FBI connection. In terms of the mob, I don't think the mob had much involvement other than using Jack Ruby to kill Lee Harvey Oswald. Someone called in a favor or something, I don't know. Anywho, WW, we need to stop electing old white men. It would be really nice if we could actually elect a young woman, say of Puerto Rican descent from New York, from one of the boroughs of New York. I would like that. MJ Daniel, JFK was shot just days after my first birthday. Wow. Yeah, I was just I just turned 3 of the month, about 6 weeks before that. And I don't have a memory of it, and I don't believe Jeff Curry can remember something from 1 month old. That's bullshit. No one can remember anything from 1 month old. Your mind is playing tricks on you. It's like people who die and say they see Jesus. You might have seen Jesus, but that was just in your mind. Your mind is amazing. Your mind can be very... I saw my dad after my dad died. When my dad died on July 5th, just at the anniversary of my dad's death in 2012, I was staying in his house with my mom and my brother. And clear as day, I guess it was a dream, but clear as day, my dad came kind of bounding out of the room, all dressed, and he had this really nice jacket, this leather jacket, brown leather jacket. Had his hair. He looked like he was about 35 or 40. Just the way I remembered him, but I swear to God, I saw him, and he came out of the room. And he goes, "Hey guys, don't worry, everything's going to be all right." And he just walked through the house, and I was like, "Dad, yeah, I saw that, but that was my fucking brain. My dad was dead. My dad was probably already cremated." Hey, another $50? Oh my gosh. From DPD, yippee, thank you so much. Says the other day, my husband and I were asked why. Oh, shit. See, it disappears, guys. It's hard for me to read these up here. Why are you too? Okay, I'll have to read it. I'll have to read it when I scroll down to DPD. But thank you, yippee. Because it just keeps moving up there. WW says the donors would have come back. Again, that's hindsight, WW. That's hindsight. Okay, he did what he did. Let's face it. He looked awful at that debate. He looked horrible. And God bless him. He looks, for a man that's going through all kinds of cancer treatments and everything, you see him about town, and he looks great. He looks better than Trump. And I don't know what Biden's prognosis is right now, as far as his treatment and how the cancer is going. He could die. He could die at any minute, and he still looks better than fucking Trump. But he did what he did. It's hindsight now to say, "Oh, he should have done this. He should have done that." Look, the man was very sick, or was getting sick, and he's very sick now. Yeah, we could hindsight this 2020 vision, hindsight this all day fucking long. I don't really fault Biden for that. I fault him more, I guess, when he said in 2020 that he was only going to do one term and wasn't going to run. He said that back then, didn't he? That was the plan. He was supposed to just do one term. But I can understand, things were going pretty well. The Biden boom, thanks to getting things done like the Inflation Reduction Act and the Chip Act and all that. He was creating jobs. He was getting us to economic numbers that we hadn't seen in half a century. So I can understand why he changed his mind. But if there was any inkling at the beginning of the campaign season, that's when he should have said, "I'm not going to run." But again, that's hindsight. I think he was feeling pretty good at that time still. But then, the campaign season's long. It's like a year long or longer. And by the time we got to where we got to, 90 days out, 93 days out, he wasn't looking so good. And he looked like he was deteriorating, and he faced a lot of pressure from within his own party to step down, and he did. So it is what it is. It is what it is. James Hermio, I still don't believe that Harris lost. It is like I was watching I was watching Ojeda last night, or was it last night? And again, Ojeda brings this up about how all these swing states, like Kamala was leading, and then all of a sudden she lost, and she lost every single swing state, which is really weird. I could see if she lost 2 or 3 or 4 maybe, but she lost all 7. So yeah, there's definitely questions. There's definitely things. And if Elon Musk had anything to do with that, then he needs to be brought up on charges. And anyone else that's complicit or conspirator in conspiracy with him needs to be brought up on charges and thrown in jail, prison, I believe. People yesterday says many Americans seem to be ignorant about politics, that their vote affects us all. Yeah, they are. I see them all the time in the cab and when I was doing rideshare. People don't know shit. People don't know shit about anything about what's going on. They don't know fucking shit. They don't. A good portion. I would say a majority. I would say a majority of Americans don't know what the fuck's going on politically. All they know is like their favorite fucking housewife show or some shit. They can tell you all day long about the housewives of Atlanta or whatever. And they know everything about those bitches. But they don't even know who. They probably don't even know who the vice president is. They don't even know who JD Vance is. If you made a joke about couch fucking, they would have no idea what you were talking about. They would probably think you were talking about some bitch on a housewife show. I don't know. Gina Maynard, she was my senator. I think talking about Harris. Josh C says figurehead sounds like a kinky math tutor. Of course, Josh would go there. Let's see here. I'm just skipping down a little bit. Herbert Hoover. No, Herbert Humphrey. Did I say Hoover? I meant Humphrey. Was I saying Hoover the whole time? I probably was. I meant Humphrey. I know it was Humphrey. Did I say Hoover? Humphrey. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say Hoover? Was I saying Hoover? Oh, that's embarrassing. I know it was Humphrey. Humphrey's from Minnesota. My dad's from Minnesota. Of course I know it was Hoover Humphrey. Did I say Hoover? Maybe because DPD brought up David L. Hoover and that threw me off, DPD. You threw me off. Yeah, Hubert Humphrey. I have been so embarrassed. Because I'm embarrassed because I know it was Humphrey. And I remember Humphrey. And I remember my dad liking Humphrey. And see, that's the thing. Again, my parents weren't really big political wonks. And I think the only reason my dad liked Humphrey was because Humphrey was from Minnesota. I don't know if my dad was a Republican or a Democrat because I think he voted for Nixon in '72. I think he voted for Humphrey in '68. I think he voted for Nixon in '72. They were all over the place, my parents. Yeah, I didn't mean Hoover. I meant Humphrey, and I'm embarrassed because I know exactly who Herbert Humphrey is. I know that Humphrey was the Democratic nominee for became the Democratic nominee. I know it wasn't Hoover. I was very well aware, even in real time. In real time, I was very at 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. Because look, in 1968, I turned 8. About a month before this 1968 election. So here I am, about an 8-year-old, and I knew who Herbert Humphrey was. Very, dare I say, intimately, because my dad was from Minnesota. And, so we talked about Herbert Humphrey and what a good guy he was. And here I am, if I was saying Hoover the whole time, I almost feel like erasing this entire live stream after I'm done. Just erasing it and pretending like it never existed. This show never existed. That's how embarrassed I am. Nick Chris, Sirhan is still alive. Yes, I know that. Rotting in the prison cell. And he claims up and down that he knew that he just was worked by himself. All right, so here is DPD, $50 super chat. Yippee, DPD, thank you so much. Let me give you a thumbs up and a heart. And now I can read it. It says, the other day, my husband and I were asked, why are you two so angry? You both live a so comfortable existence. Why can't you two just be happy? And our reply was it in unison? You guys are like that? Anyhow, we are happy and blessed. and we want others to have their pie a la mode. It's called sharing. That's very nice, and what you're saying, it reminds me, and that you guys have probably seen this. This was on probably 10 years ago. I don't know, some documentary or a news show where I don't even remember. Someone was interviewing some either multi-millionaire, or he might have been a billionaire or whatever, but a very rich dude from like Denmark or some shit. You know, one of those happy places. One of the happiest countries in the world, like fucking Denmark or the Netherlands or some shit. And they have a high tax rate there. And so they were asking him, like, you know, why are you in favor of these high tax rates? Aren't you mad that there, you know, a lot of your money is going in taxes? And the dude just goes like, what was his response? It was a great response. It was I'm going to be paraphrasing because I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like, why would I want to be rich and live in a poor country or something like that? You know, what good is it to be rich and live in a really poor country? And I'm paraphrasing, but the point is like, you know, he was only too happy to pay his taxes because it helped make a really nice country, so that they have programs. You know, people are getting college educations, and people are being able to pursue their interests, their happiness, to pursue their passions, you know, because they have all these programs that people can get into, like just normal everyday people. And so he made whatever it was that he said, it made perfect sense to me. Like it's so different than here in America. I think so many of millionaires and billionaires or whatever, they don't really give a shit how shitty this country might be as far as infrastructure or even social safety nets, because they can live in gated communities. They can live, and so they can make sure that their gated community is awesome, and they can have access to airplanes and jets and yachts, and they can get away from everything, and they can live these isolated lives and just turn a cold shoulder or a blind eye, basically, to whatever's going on. They become very calloused and very, you know, very very sociopathic in a way, with no empathy and not caring at all, and just by isolating themselves and living in their little islands, in their gated communities and all that kind of stuff. And this guy from, I don't know where he was from, Denmark. I'm just going to say Denmark. And I'm just going to say he was a billionaire. It was like, you know, why would I want to be rich and yet have a shitty country, basically was what he was saying. And that's the same way with DPD. Has a so comfortable existence, and you and your husband have empathy. You can't just turn a blind eye to it. You see what's going on. You are involved with what's going on. You see the poverty. You see people losing their health care. You see people, you know, not able to get food or whatever, and that affects you. And it's you know, you're not going to turn a blind eye. You're not like some of these pricks, like, you know, that do that. So good on you, DPD. And for people not to understand that, those people that are asking you that, what kind of people are they that they can just turn away? I was watching a video last night on YouTube, and this is the kind of thing that I've kind of wanted to do, but I don't, because I've got lots of excuses. But there's a guy who was riding around on an e-bike in Vegas, going down into lots of homeless people live in these flood channels, and a lot of them, you know, they have or kind of underground, and so they're actually in the heat here. They're nice and cool, and they're out of the sun and everything. But there's lots of homeless people here in Vegas, lots of them. And this guy was taking his e-bike, and he was buying hamburgers and burritos, and he was handing them out, and he was bringing water and giving them water, and it was really touching. And I thought, this is what we need to be doing, but at scale. Like our government needs to be doing something. Like, I don't care. They could hire a fucking, instead of having an army, of warriors. Pete Hegseth with all this warrior mythos or whatever, his warrior bullshit, and Trump wanting to change the Department of Defense to the Department of War, and this war mentality. Instead of that, we need to have like an army of people on fucking e-bikes handing out burritos and water. At least that's the fucking least we could do. And it's cheap. We don't need $1 trillion fucking yearly budget. Relatively speaking, e-bikes are cheap. Burritos are cheap. Burgers are cheap. Bottles of water are cheap. We don't need $1 trillion fucking budget. But we could at least, at the very, very least, we could at least have an army of e-bikes. And we could get people some basic shit. Now, of course, we need more. We need cooling centers. We need homeless shelters. We need programs that get people into housing. We need programs that help people get jobs. We need all that. But just at the base fucking level, we could have a fucking army of e-bikes handing out water and burritos, man. But no, what do? We bomb Iran. We kill schoolgirls. We have become this axis of evil that George Bush talked about. We are now part of the axis of evil. We are the axis of sociopaths. We are in the axis of fucking deranged, fucking psychopathic leaders like Vladimir Putin and Benjamin Netanyahu and the dude from North Korea and Donald Trump. Welcome to the axis of sociopaths, America. That's what not voting got you. You 6 to 10 million people that didn't vote. That's what we got. Thank you very much. And I know, and we could talk about the election and rigging and all that, but then we just go around in circles because I don't know. But hopefully, if there was vote tampering, I really hope to God that we, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many years it might take, I hope we get to the bottom of that and expose that. And hopefully, if Elon Musk is still alive, because I don't know how many years it might take, or whoever's involved with this vote tampering, if we find it, I hope to God they get sent to prison and they lose everything that they have. They lose all their money, all their shit. Gina Maynard says Representative Tim Burchett. That's that one piece of shit, right? Conspiracy theory about James Earl Ray, MLK, and Hoover is pretty wacky. Well, he's a wacky dude, but maybe I sound wacky too. I don't know. But I mean, there's definitely. I don't believe that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. I don't believe he might have been the shooter. For many years, I was like, he couldn't have been the shooter. It was an impossible shot, but maybe not. I don't know. He might have been the shooter, but I don't think he acted alone. People, yesterday, Obama had a horrible debate against Mittens, but not on the scale of the Biden-Trump debate in the 2024 election. Not to that level. Maybe, I don't even remember. I think I remember what you're talking about, but at least I don't remember going, God, Obama looked awful, man. Like with the Biden-Trump debate in 2024, I was like, in real time as I was watching it, I remember, I think Jolie and I were like kind of texting or something, and I go, are you watching this? And she's like, yeah. And I go, this looks bad. And she's like, yeah, I know. I mean, we were across the country from each other, but I'm sure we were both going like, oh my God. And a lot of other people were saying the same thing, like, oh my God. And even though if you look at the actual words that were coming out their mouths, Joe Biden was saying all the right stuff, and Joe Biden won that debate on what he was saying, but he lost the debate on appearance because he looked horrible. He looked like a lost, dementia patient who wandered away from the old folks home. And you're like, sir, where are you supposed to be? But so I don't, maybe Obama had a bad performance, but he certainly was able to rebound from that. And of course, getting the Mitt Romney tape of him saying, what was it, 40%? What was his thing? 40% of the people just want free stuff or something like that. I don't know, whatever he said. And that didn't go over too well. Whoever that waiter was, and they know who it was, I think Obama owes a huge debt of gratitude to that waiter who made that tape. WW, learn from your mistakes. Comment that might have been POTUS right now. How does the party handle Platner? Who is in control? Nancy and Chuck? Or Nancy and Chuck? There was no question mark there. I don't know. I don't think Nancy's in charge. I don't think. Yeah, you learn from your mistakes. So, what does that? How does the party handle Platner? Well, what they're going to do. Oh shoot! I didn't get my water, did I? Let me go get my water. I'm really thirsty. I'm going to go grab a water. Okay, so I think Platner needs to step down, and I think that the party needs to. They can hold a convention. The state of Maine can hold their own little Democratic convention, and they can choose the nominee. That's probably the way it's going to have to be. It is what it is. Whether it's what's her name, Janet Mills, whether she comes back, or whether it's some other Democrat, they need to get someone in there right away, and they need to just pick up. Well, see the other thing, Janet Mills is not going to. She's not going to. She's more what, conservative or whatever. I don't know. I don't think she's going to pick up the Graham Platner. His campaign, what he was campaigning on, the Platner platform or whatever. So I don't know, but like I said, I think the Mainers are ready for a change. The polling was pretty much neck and neck with Platner and Collins. It was pretty much at a coin toss at this point. I suppose Platner might be trying to get some quick polling done to see how much he's lost. If it's still a coin toss, maybe he will wait till Monday, because they're probably doing all kinds of polling. And if on Monday, if it's still a 50-50 race, he might stay in. So it really depends on what the Mainers want. Are they willing to take a chance on Platner, even with these allegations that have come up? These most recent ones, we already had stuff where he was, a blackout drunk, and he had girlfriends where he grabbed their arms and twisted their arms and locked one in a room and all that kind of shit. That's bad shit. But it wasn't. People were still saying, well, we still, we like what he's saying, and we think maybe, he's turned a new leaf or whatever. But now this latest charge, this latest allegation is really bad. It's more than that. It's out and out rape. I'm sorry, YouTube, you're going to demonetize me, but whatever. So to me, that's a line. That's a line too far or whatever. That's crossing the line. But the Mainers have to decide, I guess, if they are going to, I guess, believe the allegation. So I don't know. I haven't since I've been on the air. I don't know if there's any updates to Platner, the Platner situation, if he's still in or not. But I just thought of this, that he might be delaying because he has until Monday. He might want to see how things go over the weekend, and I'm sure they're doing all kinds of polling. And if it's still a coin toss by Monday, he might stay in. But if he's lost all of his, well, I mean, he's losing endorsements. But if he loses all of his donors, and if he loses in the polls, if everyone starts to show that they wouldn't vote for him, and his numbers drop there, then I would imagine that he will drop out. So I guess, but well, who knows? He might have already dropped out as I've been on the show. So I don't even know. DPD, I thought President Biden's cancer was in remission. I don't know, DPD. I don't know. I don't know. All I was saying is that I said he could die tomorrow. I mean, because who knows? Cancer's tricky. It could be in remission one day and not in remission the next day. I don't know if it's in remission or not. But you see videos pop up of him every now and then. He shows up, and he looks great for being 80. What is he? 83. He's about Mitch McConnell's age. He looks a lot better than Mitch McConnell. He looks better than Donald Trump. And he's 80-something years old with cancer. Serious cancer, Not that any cancer is not serious, but Mad Max says, Ojeda believes things were manipulated too. Yeah, I know. I don't think I said anything contrary to that. Gino Mayer, Trump looks like an older Phyllis Diller. Phyllis Diller. That's funny because I saw Phyllis Diller in live in Las Vegas at one of my dad's. My dad was a union officer in the cement workers union, and they had a few conventions in Vegas, and we went with them. Me and my mom went with them a couple times, and I remember, I think this was a convention, either that or just a trip to Vegas, because we would go to Vegas a lot. Anyhow, I remember this one time we went to, I think it was the Las Vegas, it was either it might have been the Sands, or it was the Las Vegas Hilton, which is now Westgate, the one where Elvis played. Anyhow, we were at one of those. I think it was the Sands, and guess who the headliner was? Bill freaking Cosby. And we saw Phyllis Diller. I think Phyllis Diller, or I might be confusing, because I remember one time we saw Jerry Vale. Remember Jerry Vale? He was a crooner. We went to a Jerry Vale show, and Phyllis Diller might have opened for Jerry Vale. But I also remember we saw Bill Cosby. And this is way before, this is back in the 70s. This is like 72, 73. This is way before any inkling of what a creep fucking shitbag Bill Cosby turned out to be. So it was great seeing Bill Cosby in concert. I remember I was a 12, 13-year-old kid laughing my ass off. Bill Cosby was funny. Phyllis Diller was funny as fuck. Jerry Vale, not my type of music, but, he's a good singer, good crooner. He was a crooner. Totally Vegas. That was a totally Vegas thing to do, was to see someone like Jerry Vale. Anyhow, someone got me on Phyllis Diller topic, so blame them. Let me skip on down a little bit. 11:01. I'm 23 minutes behind. 23 minutes behind. Nick DPD says, TJ, I am appealing to you to go back and watch Ashley St. Clair on Don Lemon. It was eye-opening, to say the least. Okay. Ashley St. Clair. Okay. I'm gonna. You know what? I have pen and paper. I'm gonna make a note because otherwise I would forget. I'm gonna write it down. Watch Don Lemon. Watch Don Lemon with Ashley St. Clair. There. I've written it down. I shall not forget. Big Hook, the Big Canuck is here. Hey, Big Hook, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Big Hook says, W, the fact that Elon can speak fluent Russian. Does he speak fluent Russian? I didn't know that. Fluent Russian and talks to Putin all the time. The Russians were trying to rig Trump's first win. Cambridge Analytica? There is internet component in counting votes. I remember Cambridge Analytica, of course. They were data mining everyone's information off of Facebook. Remember? All those little quizzes you took, like, like, have you ever driven a purple car or whatever? You would answer these questions. They were data mining all that shit from Facebook and probably other places. And I did a few of those survey things, so they got me. Big Hook says Elon is a eugenicist as well, and now with all that voter data he obtained via his Doge BS, I worry another skewed election with help by Putin, knowing who votes and who doesn't and using their votes. I don't know. Josh sees burritos and water is a great platform. Nick Rich, vote blue no matter who. I have a weird, I don't know, scratchiness. DBD says, TJ, we were both polite. We made them plates and said bye-bye. I could never have guests come to our home and leave hungry. I'm sure you were very polite. Big Hook says the scary part is the thought that Putin might attack a NATO country and Trump will refuse to honor the NATO agreement, effectively removing the U.S. from NATO. Yeah, I know. I think about that too. This is all Putin's, his plan of getting Trump in office is to invade Ukraine, take back all the old Soviet land, dissolve NATO. Of course, yeah, this is all part of Putin's plan. Yeah, Jolie reminded me we have the memberships starting off at $1.99 a month. You can also help the show by you can buy me a coffee or PayPal. We've got PayPal. Josh C says, DPD, I'm coming over for burritos and water. Jorgen Johansson, hey Jorgen, good to see you. Says both Bushes was pure Nazis with their granddad Prescott. Yep. In front was the Nazis' bake man in U.S. during World War II. Asked them how they got their wealth. Yeah, Jorgen, thanks for that reminder. Jeff Curry, I had a bank customer mad because turned down for a loan. He told me he knew who killed JFK, then called me an effing moron. Loan request denied, motherfucker. Poof. Denied. James Jaramillo says, Big Hook, I think Putin would be stupid to attack a NATO country as he is already getting his ass handed to him by Ukraine. I could be wrong though. You know what? Maybe this is exactly what Putin wants people to be afraid about. I'm afraid of his use of nukes once it gets to the point where he is absolutely cannot win this war in Ukraine. and NATO will fight him if he goes into Poland or wherever. And my fear is that it becomes nuclear, because that's all he's got. I know Hal says a lot that he thinks that their equipment is like old and it won't work, but still, do you want to take that chance? I mean, it's a scary thought that, they say, like, what is a caged animal or a cornered animal when it's most dangerous. I think Putin is getting cornered, and this is the time to really watch out. I mean, I'm not saying that Ukraine should back down. I think Ukraine should just keep the pressure up, and I mean, they got to do what they got to do, because they're getting hammered too by Russia. They've got to defend themselves, but I'm afraid that Putin isn't just going to go away quietly. He might go all fucking Dr. Strangelove on us or whatever, and hit the button, man. That's the scary thing. The scariest thing. DPD says Mills dropped out because she didn't have enough campaign donations, and what's even more shocking is Tellerico and Paxton are neck and neck in Texas. Yeah, well, Mills might have to. I guess we got to see what the polling is what's happening, and if Platner drops out, and then what does the polling show about who should jump in? If Mills should jump back in, there are other Democrats in Maine that are known. Probably more to the Mainers than they are to me or anyone else across the country. There's got to be someone that could pick up the mantle, or whatever the saying is. As far as Tellerico and Paxton, yeah, they're neck and neck. See, Platner and Collins, they were neck and neck. Tellerico and Paxton are neck and neck. We've got a shot. I think in order to take back the Senate, we have to win 4 Senate seats. We have to flip 4, I think, and that's why this main thing is so important. But again, I think these allegations that seem to be very credible against Platner are that's just something you can't just overlook that. I don't believe. Otherwise, who are we to talk about Epstein files and wanting, Trump to be held accountable for his sexual assaults and sexual crimes? DBD TJ, is it true the Eagles are coming your way? I haven't heard, but I mean, I heard a while ago that they were going to come back again, but I haven't heard any dates or anything. I haven't seen anything confirmed, but I heard that they are going to come back again, but because I guess it's just too much money to give up, because I guess they really make a lot of money on these shows, and they sell out every single show. But if you're an Eagles fan and you want to see them, I'll keep a ear out or an eye out. And if I get any news on the Eagles coming back, I'll let you know. DPD says, back in the day, my dad and mom banned the Cosby Show in our house. Really? Why is that? That was way before any allegations could come out, right? I think, right? Wayne Gowen says, I was weaned on PBR. Later in life, it was Miller Lite or Mick Light, a lot of Busch Light in between. So basically what you're saying is you'd like to drink shitty beer. Okay, that's fine. Hey, I've drunk in all them beers. And if you're thirsty and it's hot and they are cold, and nothing goes down better than a ice cold, even if it's just some shitty beer like PBR. I've had plenty of good PBR because it just hits right sometimes. You know, I'm not that much of a beer snob. I'll chug down. I'll guzzle down a Budweiser if I'm out in the yard. Back in the day when I used to do yard work and it was 110 degrees and there was an ice chest full of Budweisers, I had no qualms whatsoever about chugging me down a Budweiser. Steven Sayer says Busch Light was cheap, $10 for a 30 pack. Yeah, that good old cheap beer. Mad Mac, I used to do work at Rainier Brewery and on employee beer sales day, you could get a case of 24 tall boys for $4. Max was 2 cases. Some benefits of working there. Mad Mac, I like Schlitz from the tap, not the malt liquor, but the basic macro beer. Jeff Curry, I got one lone bottle of Heineken in the fridge. I like me a Heineken. Josh C says Schlitz is no more. I like a lot of different beers. I like beer. I could be a Supreme Court justice. Maybe. I don't know. I think I've caught up to the chat. Microphone is still working. I'm still using the old original chopstick mic. DVD says, my dad and mom always thought Cosby was scum. Listen and respect your elders, people. They thought he was scum? Wow. I never thought he was scum. I thought he kept things pretty clean and everything. He was supposed to be the clean guy. I don't know. Of course, he was leading a double life of being a real, I mean, that's not even, to call him a pervert is way too nice, right? It's nice, too nice. Joy to farm too. Hello, Joy to farm too. Says Kansas doesn't have the Dem primary until early August. People hating on Roger Marshall, maggot senator that actually lives in Florida. We have a 2-term Dem governor, so a Dem can win statewide. Governor is kind of weird. Like, who wins governors? Because, like, in Nevada here, we are definitely a blue state. We have both senators are Democrats. We only have 5 House districts, I believe, and 4 out of 5 are Democrats. But our governor is a fucking maggot, a maggot Republican. So go figure. It's kind of weird how that can happen sometimes. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Aaron West, I've gotten so sick on Bud Light, I never touch it anymore. Yeah, that memory, when that happens, those things happen, that memory stays with you. So every time you see a Bud Light or whatever, it's like, yeah, you don't want that. Big Hook says the Dems need to win all their current Senate seats and win 6 more. Oh, is it 6 on top, huh? To regain control. I thought it was 4. The Collins seat could be the critical one to tip power towards sanity. Fingers crossed to stop DJT. Yeah, that's why this is so huge of a deal. But we can't give up, you know. If Platner steps down, this is still July. the Democrats can still get someone else in there. And then you got August, September, October. You know, you've got 3 full months. It's kind of like Kamala Harris having 3 months. But this is statewide. This is not national. I mean, this is just the state of Maine. Things are different when it's just the state as opposed to like the whole country. And if the Maine voters, the Maine population of Maine, they seem to be ready to kick Collins out. So whomever ends up running, if it's not Platner, they need to run with that change, that thought of how important it is to complete this and get Collins out of office. That should be the main focus, I think, of whomever is going to be the Democratic candidate, the nominee. Just hammer home the point that this is about it is about moving to the left. I mean, definitely, if you were voting for Platner, you were moving to the left in Maine. Politically, ideologically, Platner and Susan Collins are like complete opposites. I don't think they had any commonality. So if Platner was getting, 50% of the support, Collins was at 50. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was pretty much a 50-50 split. Then I guess you could say half the state is ready for change and ready to move to the left, ready for social programs, social ideology, liberal, at least liberal ideology. So whomever the candidate's going to be, I guess, needs to hammer that point, that just because Graham Platner is no longer the candidate or the nominee doesn't mean that I'm not also going to pursue those platform positions. We can't give up hope. And I think the things that we can do that don't live in that state, we could send $5 to whomever that candidate's going to be, send $5 to their campaign. If it's going to be Janet Mills or somebody else, as soon as we find out, send them $5. Let them know that we support the Democratic candidate, and we would love nothing more than to see Susan Collins be sent packing. We'll have to see, I guess, how it turns out. Mad Max says, it used to be in Washington State. Bless me. Mad Max says, used to be that Washington State could not sell Coors, so that was always the beer of choice to have. Go out of state and come back with cases of Coors. That's kind of what Smokey and the Bandit was based on, wasn't it? Wasn't Smokey in the first one anyhow? They were moving a truckload of, was it Coors? Because they couldn't sell it in that certain state, and some millionaire guy was like, "I'll pay you blah 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 blah." It was a bet. It was a big bet. What type of a deal? Oh yeah, it was like little Paul Williams was Wayne Gwain says, I haven't had a beer in 5 years. Well, good for you. If that's what your goal is. That's good for you. Unless Well, yeah, I won't go into it. I people yesterday barrel aged stout or porter. Yum. Jolie says, "Oh, and Heineken if I just want something different, but usually Corona. I like beer. To me, Corona. I used to drink Coronas, but to me, Corona is almost like the Mexican Budweiser. Because I think Modelo is better. I think Pacifico is better. You're talking about like Mexican beers that are like, I guess those would be like a macro beer. I mean, they're pretty, uh, high volume. They're not like little beers. They're not IPAs or whatever. But I think I like Modelo better than Corona. But I do like a Corona with a lime squeezed in it. I like to squeeze the lime into the Corona, and then it kind of fizzles. Josh says, Aaron, last time I drank a Bud Light, I lost my Beaver Liquors hat in Winnetka Lake. Okay. James Jaramillo says, to me, Heineken, when it's cold, tastes like raw corn tortillas. Much better at room temperature to me. I generally speaking, do not like room temperature beer. I like cold beer. I'm not a German, for Christ's sakes, Jim. Funny though, Heineken is a German beer, or at least it's supposed to be. DPD says, if you're going to have a beer, light beer has no taste. However, it will have you empty your bladder. The only light beer that I like is Michelob Light. Right? I don't really drink light beer all that. Maybe I guess Miller Lights. I'm drinking my share of Miller Light. But I like Michelob, which is basically just a fancy Budweiser. But I like Michelob, guys. I think Michelob Light is okay, but regular Michelob is even better. I got to tell you, I do like Michelob. Like I said, I think it's made by Budweiser, right? Anheuser-Busch, which is Budweiser. But I think I don't know, maybe is that like a dark beer? What is the deal? For some reason, I think it tastes better. It seems to be a higher quality beer than just regular old butt wiper. Anamore Rolling Rock is my favorite lager. Anheuser-Busch. Now, speaking of Anheuser-Busch now owns it, and they have put out a lighter version of lager. They ruined it, probably. I remember drinking some Rolling Rock back in the day. Rolling Rock, my favorite for a long time, one of my favorites was Mickey's Big Mouth. I love the old Mickey's Big Mouth with the old pull top. Now they've changed it. Do they even make it anymore? I don't even know. I haven't had a Mickey's Big Mouth in years and years. But back in the day, I mean, this is going way back to like high school days and college days. Mickey's Big Mouth, that was my go-to. I could down me some Mickey's Big Mouth. Aaron West, be right back. Have to get ready for my next interview in 19 minutes. All right, and we are well over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I've got 30% battery left, or I think 30 something. So we will probably be wrapping this up pretty soon. I think we talked about everything. Bob Newell's here, or Paul Newell. Bob Newell, Yo Trucker John. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. There it is. I can't hear you. Wayne Goen says, my grandpa had a still. Wow. He made Everclear, of course, moonshine, whiskey, 195 proof, right off the still. Used to temper it down with spring water and store it in charred kegs. You make it sound so delicious. I had me some Everclear. Dippity says, bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I sneezed. Bob Newell, have you seen Trump's some piece or side piece? I think I have. I think I've seen some clips or pictures or, you know what? I had all these little memes, or not memes, but I was supposed to, I forgot. Like, I was supposed to, when we talked about Graham Platner, I forgot to do this. You know, I have this space over here. When we talked about Graham Platner, I was supposed to put this up. And I didn't do it. And I don't feel like going through the whole Graham Platner thing again. Other than just to say, I think he needs to step down and we need to get a Democratic candidate in there ASAP. And when we find out who it is, I think all of us should send that person $5 or whatever to their campaign. And we need to support that Democrat who steps in, who steps up and takes over, because Susan Collins needs to go. In fact, any Republican would need to go, but she needs to go. And we need a good Democrat in there. And I think Maine is ready they're ready to make the change. I think they are ready for it. They're ready to move a little to the left. And they're ready to get rid of Susan Collins. So whoever takes over, we need to show support. So I forgot to put that picture up. It says Democrats begin pulling Platner endorsements after Maine candidate faces sexual assault allegation. That was supposed to be up the whole time when we were talking about Platner, and I forgot. I also had, whenever we talked about McConnell, I was supposed to put this up, and I completely forgot. I completely forgot. Mitch McConnell's office confirms he's still in the hospital after 16 days, but continues to improve from undisclosed condition. That I don't know if you call that a meme, but I think that's kind of old. I think he's been in there almost a month. From the reports I've heard, Mitch McConnell is in a coma and has been unconscious the entire time. He had an incident or whatever they call it, condition or something. You know, he was found unresponsive or unconscious, and they took him to the hospital, and he's been in there ever since. That was June 14th, and from what I've heard, he has not been conscious since. He's been unconscious the entire time. No one knows. I mean, they're not giving us the full information. If he's dead, he's being kept alive by machines, just so that he won't be replaced. Trying to keep him in his seat, even though he's in the hospital and not conscious for almost a month. I was supposed to have that picture up, but I forgot. I forgot that I did this, and I feel bad because the show's over just about, right? Then the other one, I was supposed to put this one up when we talked about Trump and, come on, thing. We talked about Trump's meddling with the World Cup. And this one says Trump may have played a key role in, see the red part I cannot read. I can't read it. I have to zoom it in more. Trump may have played a key role in, Balogun being cleared to play against Belgium. That was supposed to be up, and I forgot. Because the idea was to do segments and then to be a little bit more like, a live streamer that kind of knows what he's doing. And then you could make segments, see? You make segments, and you make video segments, and you repost those. And then people watch them, and they like and they subscribe, and they share. And then you become really like a big shot because you get millions. You're like Midas Touch. You get millions and millions of viewers. And I didn't do that. So that's why I'm only at 4,530, because I forgot to put my memes up there, and so that I can make video segments later. Maybe tomorrow I'll do better. Anyhow, so I forgot to put those up. Damn it. Big Hook says Collins married a super lobbyist and has been an utter disappointment for Maine. She has destroyed women's rights via the Kavanaugh appointment. And Coney Barrett, she pretends to be concerned but isn't. And hopefully after 20-something years, 28 years or whatever, hopefully finally it's seeping into the Maine voters that Susan Collins does not have their best interests at heart. This is what I talk about when I say the masses are asses, because it takes so goddamn long for this shit to seep in through to the masses. I mean, they've had plenty of time to be upset with Susan Collins, but they just couldn't bring themselves around to voting for a Democrat. Until now, it's a 50-50 coin toss. And whoever takes Platner's place, then it becomes, will the voters believe that person? For some reason, I guess because Graham Platner was presented himself as this working class guy, this fucking oyster farmer or whatever, fisherman, a veteran, wore lots of plaid flannels, baseball caps, had a beard and all that shit. So he looked like he was just one of them, one of these hardworking Mainers, right? And they identified with the guy in a lot of ways. Are they going to identify with Janet Mills? I mean, or whatever. But she has won, right? Mills has won elections in Maine, but she's old too, So we got to look at this. This is like an emergency situation, and we've got to, make exceptions, I guess, and just it just depends on how bad do the Mainers not want Susan Collins anymore. I need to put my Graham Platner meme back up now. I'm doing this all wrong. I'm doing it all wrong. Jolie says, I drank some Modelo's a couple of months ago because they didn't have Corona. It was okay, but I definitely like Corona better. A Modelo, they have the Modelo, like the amber beer, like the yellow beer. What do they call it? I know you beer drinkers, and then they have the dark one. I like the dark one better. I like the dark Modelo. What's it called? Blanco Nacho? I don't forget what it's called. But anyhow, like I said, I like me Corona, but I got to have a lime in that baby. I got to squeeze some lime in there. I like the taste of the lime in the beer. And with the other beers, too. Bob Newell, you can't buy beer, only rent it. Just your damn it, Jim. I'm an American under German. Michelob Dark is great. See, yeah, I like Michelobs. I like me some Michelob. If I'm going to go, the domestic, like mainstream Anheuser-Busch route, I'll get me a Michelob. Yeah, Josh says my neighbor only drinks Michelob Ultra. I think maybe that's what I was thinking about when I said Michelob Light. I don't even know if they make Michelob Light, but yeah, Michelob Ultra, which is supposed to be like a low carb version, basically. I think it's pretty good for being a low carb thing or whatever. Mad Mac, I have never drank a Corona in my life, and I had my share of beers when I was younger. Now I might have one beer every 2 months. Have lots of beer in the fridge when friends come over, though. Coronas are good. I think Coronas are good. I just like Modelo better, but does not mean I don't like Corona. Although I did sort of slam it by saying it was the Mexican Budweiser, but it's better. I think it's better than Budweiser. Let's put it that way. But it's good, especially with a lime. Gina Maynard, I prefer a port or a stout. I like Guinness. I really like Guinness. I mean, it's funny. I talk about Modelo all the time, but I like me a Guinness, and I like the what's the brown ale? It's something brown ale. Those are really good. I like those. But see, I'm a kind of guy, like some of you people, you just like one thing and that's it. That's it. You like blondes, that's it. It could be the hottest brunette in the world come up to you, but she ain't a blonde, so fuck her, right? I like blondes. I like brunettes. I like redheads. I'm using that also as a metaphor for beers. You know, I like dogs and I like cats. I like the Beatles and I like the Rolling Stones. Okay? I like Modelo and I like Corona and I like Michelob and I like Guinness. And almost equally. I mean, like there is a pecking order there, but I'm not like you. You guys are all like, I only like one thing and one thing only, and never shall the two meet or whatever. I'm not like that. I like a little bit of everything. I'm not like you guys. Mad Mac, Mickey's was malt liquor. I don't even know. All I know is it smelled a little skunky. It had a little skunky smell to it. It had the big mouth, so you could just guzzle those babies down, pop them down, and they were cool with the pull top. And I liked them. Uh-oh. Jolie says, I really actually like all sorts of different types of beer. Okay, I guess you just contradicted what I just said. But for whatever reason, Corona gives me much less of a hangover. Well, there you go. There's a method to the madness there. Wayne Gowen says, I was never picky about beer. When I was young, I drank a lot of draft. I used to be it used to be $2 a pitcher. Yeah, you can get some deals on the drafts. Because as Josh says, the Vegas equivalent of what happens at the fishing hole stays at the fishing hole. Okay. DPD, has anyone ever tried moonshine? You mean like actual real moonshine? I don't think I have. Jeff Curry says Don Jr. was at the courthouse for the Charlie Kirk guy. Why would he be there? Just because, I don't think it's some conspiratorial thing or whatever. I think it's just because he's a little whore. Don Jr.'s a little whore, a little limelight whore, and the Trumps they're all fucking troll. They all troll everything, and so it's a troll move probably. Like, oh, this will get them going. They'll really think that there's some grand conspiracy or whatever if I show up. That's my first take on it. I don't know. Who knows though? Um, uh, Joey to Farm 2 says, I used to like Michelob before I realized that gluten was making me sick. Pretty much don't drink at all now except a glass of wine at holidays. Josh C says, regarding McConnell, I heard someone say 3 strokes, you're out. Oh, boy. MJ Daniels says Platner just needs to take care of his own problems first, and McConnell needs to be replaced today. Joy to Farm says Loomer says he's brain dead, but wife is out of the country, so it's a legal mess. And that might answer the question as to why Elaine Chao is in China. And it might be for no other reason, because I know they're like, she's talking to the Chinese vice president and she's doing this and she's doing that. I don't know. It might be for no other reason than to just make things more difficult about when to pull the plug or whatever, you know. She's in China and she's unreachable right now. And she's the next of kin or whatever. She's the only one that has power of attorney or whatever the deal is. And it might be for no other reason than that. She knows the game plan. She knows she's a good soldier, and so she goes off to China and she just kind of fucks off for a while, and this is part of the delay process. To delay, like Big Hook or whoever it was said that McConnell needs to be replaced now. This is the delay, as long as they can. Jolie says, make a list, Trucker John. We're old. We need lists. Oh, you mean the list of the Don Lemon thing? Daniel, never had moonshine, but I have had Everclear, which is pretty much moonshine. I've had Everclear too, and I thought that was like moonshine too. But that's why I said I don't think I have. Somebody had some Everclear in like a mason jar. It wasn't like in some produced, bottling company or whatever. It was like Everclear. It was like in a mason jar. And he said, here, try this. And I'm like, what is it? Because it looked like fucking kerosene or something. And he goes, it's Everclear. And I'm like, oh, I think I've heard of that. Gulp, gulp, gulp. I'm like, shit. Anyhow. Steven Sayre says, film of Collins. Oh, when she was much younger, saying she would only stay in office for 2 terms. Senator equates to 12 years. Yeah, she's done what? 4 terms? 5 terms? Collins is 73. Says MJ Daniel. Negro Modelo. There you go, Mad Mac. That's the one. I like that one. Josh says Negro Modelo with lime is good. Yeah, I think a lot of beers with lime is good. Especially the Mexican beers. 12 noon in Vegas. I'm 7 minutes behind Nick Rich. 7 tiny little baby little minutes behind you. And we are Newcastle Brown Ale. That's the one. I like. See, I'm all over the place. I like Newcastle Brown Ale, but I also like Michelob. So, and I like. Hey, I won't turn down a Budweiser if it's cold. And you're going to hand me a Budweiser, I'm not going to turn that down. I'll drink me a Bud. There are people that I've heard people actually say, I wouldn't drink a Budweiser if you paid me $1 million. And fuck you. I would give you 50 cents and you would probably drink it. So, anyhow. David Weiss, I like Hefeweizen beers. I've tried me some of the Hefeweizens, yeah. I don't really like those wheat beers, shit like that, too much, But again, probably drink it. MJ Daniel says, sounds like Mickey's to me. We drink a lot of that stuff. Wide mouth made them easy. I said it was Mickey's Big Mouth. When did you not hear me say Mickey's Big Mouth? It's called Mickey's Big Mouth. That's Mickey's. Mickey's Big Mouth. I believe it says Mickey's Big Mouth on the label. Anywho. DBD says, yes, TJ, real moonshine. Is Everclear moonshine? Because I've had Everclear, apparently. Gina Maynard says McConnell does have daughters from previous marriage. So if Elaine Chao is out of the country, can they make those decisions, those life kind of decisions, as far as pulling the plug and all that shit? I don't know. The whole thing's a mess. The whole Mitch McConnell thing is a mess. You know, and it is a scandal in that there is a cover-up going on. And if the same thing was a Democrat, the Republicans would be crying to the high heavens about how the Democrats are hiding this, or whoever it was, you know, and that person needs to be replaced. It would be a huge thing. But since it's a Republican, then it's like we don't even hear about it. It's like it's been a month and we're just now hearing about this stuff. You know. Jolie says, a list for putting your memes up during your show. Oh. You already forgot. Yeah. Let me put that on the list. Don't forget memes. I'm going to have to make that number 2 on my list, because number 1 is to watch the Don Lemon, Ashley St. Clair thing. Number 2 is don't forget memes. Don't forget to post memes. There. Now it's on my list, and it shall never be forgotten. Bob Newell says Mitch is not in the hospital. He's spending the weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, we've already gone through the weekend of Bernie jokes. You're a little late to the game there, Bob Newell. Jolie says, if I don't completely lose my mind from this horrible affliction before I get there, I don't know. I think I might be mid-thread on something. I don't know what's going on there. Aaron West, I'm back already. It was just the screener with the recruiter. Well, I hope it nevertheless, I hope it went well. All right, guys. I guess that's it for today. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Unbelievable. Thanks for being here today. We had fan funding. Michael to you, $50 from Fancy and me. Yippee! Thank you, Michael. Miss Fancy became a member at the driver level. Thank you, Miss Fancy. Michael to you has been a member for 27 months. Yippee to Michael. DVD with a $50 super chat. The other day, I read this. We can read it again. The other day, my husband asked, "Why are you two so angry? You both live a so comfortable existence. Why can't you two just be happy?" And our reply was, we are happy and blessed, and we want others to have their pie a la mode. It's called sharing. Thank you, DPD, so much. And thanks, everyone, for being here today. Thanks for liking, subscribing, and sharing the show out. Thanks for helping get us to, hopefully, 5K Hennessy Day, hopefully sometime before 2027. I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But couldn't do it without you guys, nevertheless. We'll be back again on Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And we'll talk about whatever's going on. Let's see, by Thursday, what day is it? Tuesday? By Thursday, maybe we'll know more about Platner or what he's doing. Maybe we'll know more about Mitch McConnell, dead or alive. Maybe we'll know more about where is Elaine Chao? I don't know, who cares? Who cares about that bitch? Where is my stuff? I'm trying to find. I have little guests that like to pop in, and for some reason, I'm not seeing them. I think they've gone for the day. I don't know what's going on. What is going on here? Download failed. Are we still on? Am I still on? Do I still have internet? Are we still doing the show? For some reason, certain things aren't downloading. So, I don't know. Weird. It's really weird. Yeah. I'm not seeing, I'm looking for Tough Cookie and Paul the Purple Beard Guy in the green room, so to speak, and they are nowhere to be found. I don't know what's going on. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I can't find them, guys. For some reason, they are not here today. Hopefully they'll be back on Thursday. But Tough Cookie and Paul the Purple Beard Guy have apparently left the building. So all we can do now is just words of wisdom. You guys ready for words of wisdom? Get your papers and pen like I do. See, I have paper and pen. Do you guys have paper and pen? We can do the words of wisdom. Again, just a reminder, I'll see you guys on Thursday, 9 a.m. And we will pick up where we left off. If you see any of my shorts, don't wear them. Like, subscribe, share those. Any videos of mine, give it a like, give it a share, give it a comment. I appreciate it. I see you guys commenting, and I really appreciate it. I see you guys liking and hyping, and I really appreciate it. So, thank you guys so much. Hang in there, guys. We got to hang in there. It's going to be a bumpy ride. It always is when Trump is president. Lots of bumpy rides. So, buckle up, buttercups. It's going to be a bumpy ride. All right. So here's today's words of wisdom. Are you guys ready? All right. So it's a big list. If you're ready to write this down. Big list today. Okay, number one.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant. But I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I try to kill. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows, so go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after, or really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
I don't mourn when evil men die. I don't feel sad and I don't cry. Sometimes I wonder why it takes so long for evil men to die. But I want you to know that when you go, you won't be missed. And the ground where you're laid, we're all gonna take a big giant piss. And for your end, we all anticipate, without any love and too exhausted to hate. Your long-lasting legacy will be one of disgrace and shame. Throughout the annals of history, your name will shrink, you'll lose your fame. And as you lay there drawing in your final breath, just know that you made us happiest in death. You will not be thought of kindly, and you won't be missed. And like I said before, on the ground you'll lay, I'm gonna take a big old piss.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.